it's time to bring on our special guest, folks. I told you it was a good one. And he is a man who has been calling network sports since 1967, mainly football and basketball on the pro and college level. He's also called Olympics, World Cup soccer. He's a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a winner of the Pete Rozelle Award, which is a pretty big deal, folks, recognizing his excellence in broadcasting the NFL. He is currently teamed up in the booth on the CBS network with Randy Cross calling NFL action. And, of course, he is the voice of Notre Dame football on the ISB radio network. We say hello to Mr. Don Criqui. Don, welcome to Sportscaster Chronicles.
Thank you, John. Good to be with you.
A lot to talk about here. Let's get into, it obviously happened a couple weeks ago, but still worth talking about. Your impressions of Brian Kelly being hired as the new head coach at Notre Dame.
Well, I think it's a very important hire. I think Notre Dame has only won national championships in the last 70 years when they've hired a coach who had been highly successful as a head coach in another major college. The best coach they ever had, in my opinion, was Frank Leahy, who came to Notre Dame from Boston College. They didn't win another national championship after Leahy retired in the early 50s until they hired Ara Parseghian in the early 60s. And then they won another national championship with Dan Devine, who followed Parseghian. Didn't win another one until they hired Holtz in 85. So anybody else in between hasn't been good. And Brian Kelly has been super successful at a major college level. So I think he's taking hold very well out there.
Yes, and we're going to find out. Been at the helm for 2 weeks now. Let me just get your impression on this, Don. I always thought that, despite what you just said, I always got the feeling when they hired Charlie Weis that he was the perfect fit. I mean, it just seemed like, this guy was highly successful on the pro level, bringing in all this moxie, and, he was a Notre Dame guy, and I'm coming home, and this is the dream job for me. What do you think that Kelly can bring that Charlie Weis couldn't?
Well, he's been a successful head coach in college. Charlie Weis hasn't been a head coach.
Right.
I mean, he was a compromise choice at Notre Dame. Tremendous offensive coordinator for the Giants and the Patriots. Never was a head coach. I guess 1 year in high school. And he wasn't ready to be a head coach. He didn't know how to coach the defensive side of the ball, and somehow his team wasn't that motivated on the defensive side. So he'll probably go back to the NFL as a terrific offensive coordinator, but being a head coach and being a coordinator are from two different planets.
Right, and defense, just like you said, is going to be a big thing that Kelly's going to have to fix at Notre Dame. What are you hearing? Him bringing in coordinators? Have you heard anything on your end of him bringing in any coaches on that side?
Well, yeah, he's bringing in the head coach of Grand Valley State, where he coached guy who's I think he's got a 47-6 record, young guy, who was a defensive specialist. He's already signed on, and I think the other coaches will be announced after the bowl games. I think he's in contact with people, but they're involved in coaching bowl teams right now. So the whole thing will come together right after the bowl games.
Right. I guess he's already gotten some good news. Manti Te'o has decided to come back and not go on to his Mormon missionary work. He's decided to delay that. So that's obviously something that Kelly wanted to hear. Is that right?
Well, there's no question. I think Manti Te'o is a guy that you could really build a defense around. He's a tremendous player and has elected to come back this year, which is a big, big boost for the new coach.
Right. We, of course, are talking with our special guest, Don Criqui of CBS, and, of course, the radio voice of Notre Dame football. Something kind of not necessarily related to Notre Dame, Don, but I think it's something now in the news that's getting everyone talking. The Urban Meyer situation down in Florida. This kind of came as a shock to everybody. All of a sudden he resigns. What's going on? And then now he's kind of pulled back, saying he's just going to take a leave of absence for a while. But it's health related. And again, he's being a little cloak and dagger about what exactly his health issues are. But I think that's got to give a lot of people pause, especially on the coaching level, about how they go about their job. What is your take on all of this?
I think it's a stress-related difficulty, John. I think, coaching is a constant pressure. I mean, not just during the games. It's all week long. Doesn't stop in the off-season. I think the pressure and the stress really started to wear on his health. And, he's taken a step back. Now, more recently, since the initial announcement, I think he said he's going to step back and possibly coach in 2010, next season. But right now, he just wants to get away from the everyday grind of coaching and recruiting and the pressure of having to win. I think it's stress-related, and I think he'll take a step back and see how he feels after that.
Right. Well, I guess my larger question, Don, is do you think that this is just an isolated incident, or is it something that, clearly, coaching today in college and in the pros and probably even, high school on a certain level is just 24/7. It's a grind. You're on the road. You're recruiting. You're looking at films. You're never at home. You never see your family. Again, is this something that you think a lot of coaches are going to start to kind of reevaluate how much time that they're putting into the job, or is this just an isolated situation?
It is far from isolated. I think a lot of coaches are reviewing it introspectively all the time. But the thing is, if you want to coach, you have to live with it because it's not going to change the pressure.
Right.
So you make a determination, can I stay with this pressure, or can't I? If you can't, you get out. If you want to coach, you have to put up with it.
Right. How well do you know Brian Kelly? I'm sure you've met him a few times. Have you had a chance to really sit down and talk to him about his new situation, his new environment?
I really haven't yet. I'm going to shortly, but I know the reports I'm getting from out there, he's really taken hold. He's very, very hands-on, very demanding, but in a way that people respond to. The guy's succeeded at every level he's ever coached as a head coach, and I think he's optimistic about doing it there. I know one of the things, he's interviewed every player so far that's returning and a lot of the guys that are graduating, and he's got uniformly great grades from everybody. They're very impressed with him.
Wow. Again, you talked about the meeting members of his existing team, about the Irish losing two of their big ones in Clausen and Tate. First of all, your take on losing those two key parts of their offense, and what does Notre Dame have in the well, so to speak, for this upcoming 2010 season?
Well, the Kelly offense, the spread offense, they utilize 4 and 5 receivers per formation usually. He's got a lot of terrific young receivers there. Some that didn't get on the field much, but there's some really good players there. His quarterback is a 5-star recruit who's getting over a knee operation that went very well, Dayton Christ, who from a college standpoint could possibly be better than Clausen because Christ is very, very mobile. He's big. He's 6'5", 235 pounds, and very, very mobile, and they expect to have him back for full workouts starting in the spring. But his recovery is going to be very important, but he is the guy to watch. As far as an overall passer, I don't think he's as good as Clausen. I don't think anybody in the country is. And I think you'll see that validated in the upcoming NFL draft because I think he's going to go number 1 to St. Louis.
Right. And again, Kelly really has his work cut out for him. We're going to find out. I think he did get off to a good start, Don. He evoked the name of Lindsey Nelson, of course, the great late Lindsey Nelson, who called Notre Dame football for all those years. I was waiting for him to say, Van Patrick and Joe Bolton, and why not?
Yeah.
Why not even Don Criqui? So we're going to find out what the Irish are made of here. Don, if you can hold on 1 second, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we return with our special guest, Don Criqui, this is Sportscaster.